Today, we begin our journey inward towards acceptance. And acceptance is a beautiful concept with many misunderstandings. So, in this video, I'm going to cover some of those misunderstandings, like the difference between acceptance versus passivity. I'm going to also be covering how acceptance is different than reframing. If you recall just a few videos ago, I'll link below to the other video. But the other video, I said there were 2 skills to stop emotional eating. One of those skills was active. It involved effort. And it was rethinking. It was reframing. That was using our mind, using energy and effort to reframe our thoughts by coming up with alternatives, asking questions about our assumptions, changing the tone of voice, making sure we notice our reaction. There's a nuanced skill set in this reframing skill. Today we're doing the exact opposite. We're accepting. So how do we do that? How do we not settle but still use acceptance as a tool for growth? That's what we're covering today. Specifically, there's a few different ways we can approach acceptance. The main thing I want to highlight is that we're beginning the journey towards acceptance. These different techniques and exercises that I'll be covering today, they're to get you a taste of acceptance, because acceptance is easy to misunderstand. It's very easy to, when we start this conversation on accepting feelings, to be like, oh, I'm going to accept my feelings, but secretly you don't want to feel your feelings. You're kind of using, I know I've done this before, where I say, okay, I'm going to feel my feelings. When are they going to go away? Like, okay, I'm feeling them. Okay, when are they going to go away? And it's like, I have this expectation that if I accept things, if I accept my difficult feelings, that they'll go away. And that's an easy misunderstanding for acceptance. But if we really want to stop emotional eating, if we really want to be connected with our body and trust our body to make normal eating decisions like a normal human being and be at our natural weight, then we need to not expect that things will get better. At least not in the moment. Long-term, acceptance is the answer. It is the most important thing. But it's so difficult to accept a painful feeling. Sometimes when we find a painful feeling, we get triggered. It might come up with our belief systems that if you feel emotions, it means you're a failure. If you feel sad, it means you're a failure. If you feel things too intensely, it means that you're in danger. So you can start to reflect about your belief systems about different emotions, but after, if you're ready, if no beliefs are blocking you from your emotions to accept the emotions, we can then begin to explore some different facets of these emotions. And one approach is called sifting. And I love sifting emotions. It totally is the right analogy, where the emotions, they come up here and they kind of settle, and then you get more refined wisdom at the end of the sifting. And sifting, it stands for where you sift, you feel, you sense your emotions. The I is where you interpret. This is a journaling exercise where you the S is situation. The S is situation. You describe the situation, the context, what's going on, what led up to this event. And then the I is interpreting. For example, if you were at a dinner, let's say after work at a dinner, you would write down the situation. After work, I'm having a dinner. I haven't eaten lunch in a few hours. It's been a while. I'm hungry. And you start getting this craving. You start getting this intense emotion, this anxiety when you see all the foods laid on the table. And so in the moment, ideally you do this If you're at a dinner party, it's going to be hard to journal. I get that. But on your own, if you feel a strong emotion, you can go through this process. In the moment, let's keep with the story of you're at the dinner party, you're feeling some anxiety about all the food coming out. You've noticed the situation, then you trying to see, and you feel this anxiety, you feel, that's the F. You notice your feelings, anxiety, it's in the situation. What's your interpretation? What is that anxiety trying to tell you? Is it trying to tell you to be careful because you've been here before and you've overeaten before? That's great. We want to know what message our emotions have for us. So that's the I, that's interpretation. We want to interpret our emotions instead of just having this weird anxious feeling that drives our behavior unknowingly. We're just propelled to eat. We want to take a look at this feeling, trying to understand what it's saying. And then lastly, using your own knowledge and wisdom, you might reflect, do I have a tendency to overeat at dinner parties when I'm stressed out and when I haven't eaten? So you notice your tendencies. This is called sifting your emotions, SIFT. But it's a very logical approach to accepting. It's one technique to get you started on the journey of acceptance. You can take a difficult situation and sift through it, maybe in your journal. It's a logical framework, kind of like training wheels to kind of get you moving in the right direction, to allow yourself to feel these emotions and to not shy away from them. But perhaps a different angle to approach acceptance is by differentiating willfulness versus willingness. I find this discussion to be hugely useful. This is what I was referring to earlier. I had a willful attitude about acceptance. It was like, I'm going to accept my emotions so that I'm tough, you know? It's like, I'm going to accept my emotions so that they go away, so I don't have to deal with them. I'm going to accept my emotions so I don't have to deal with them. Funny how we do that. That's willfulness. Willingness is an entirely different concept. It involves this idea of moment by moment. There's no expected outcome. Things don't have to get better. Let me repeat that again. Things do not have to improve. And isn't that a relief? So when you sit down with a difficult emotion, it's not like a tightening. It's not a willful thing you're doing. It's more of a letting go. It's letting go. And being willing to feel the difficult feeling. And feeling the difficult feeling, it might not go away. It might not go away. But when we allow ourselves to feel the difficult feeling, we get we get the benefit of acceptance. The benefit of acceptance is that you can feel the difficult feeling and choose not to eat, to avoid the difficult feeling. You can feel the difficult feeling, and that gives you the presence and the freedom and the space to make a different decision than eating. For example, you might want to go on a walk. If you're at the dinner party and you're feeling very anxious around this food, maybe you can try some other food first and then come back to the table that's making you anxious. There's different ways, there's many solutions, but we just have to be calm to access these solutions that we have within us. And this leads us to expansiveness. That's the key thing here. That's what we really got to understand. When we accept our difficult feelings, when we let them be as they are, whether it's anxiety or anger, or sadness, grief, shame, embarrassment, guilt, stress, when we let those feelings be uncomfortable, once we do that, we also gain our expansiveness. Expansiveness is a synonym that I use for acceptance. It means a wider view, a bigger way of being in the world, of relating to the world. And your problems instead of having tunnel vision, where at the end of the tunnel vision there's a cake or some food, when you get emotional eating, it's got this tunnel vision. This gives us the ability to make different decisions. What else do I need right now? What would be a better alternative to food? You can come up with these answers, but you can't, if you don't accept your feelings, then you're gonna get caught in tunnel vision. And I had someone ask me that the other day. They said, why do I get caught in tunnel vision if I don't accept my feelings? And it's because of this math equation about acceptance. This is a great math equation. It's pain equals pain. Pain times resistance equals suffering. And suffering is worse than pain. Suffering is when someone cuts you off in traffic and they almost hit you and you're so pissed off. Maybe your daughter was in the back seat and the car drives away, you don't get the license plate or anything, and you're so pissed off for like an hour later. You're like, I hate this traffic. You want to pull out your hair for an hour? That's suffering. There was pain when the person cut you off, but then the person drove away. The rest of that is suffering. Suffering is when we resist the moment. And so whenever the thing about acceptance is we either accept or we resist. There's not this gray area. There's not this like, I'm just gonna not do either. No. You're either doing one or you're doing the other. You're either resisting, and it might not be that much resistance, but you're resisting. So if you're not accepting, you're resisting. And when you're resisting, here's another exercise that we can do to understand acceptance. You just think about a difficult emotion, a difficult situation that you really don't like, and feel it in your body, and then try to resist it. Like try to go, gross, I don't like that. Try to tense up, and then notice how you feel. It's like you feel bad, you feel tight, and then is the situation any better? No. You haven't done a single thing. You're not expansive. So what if you had that same situation, that situation, and you relaxed instead of tightening? What do you feel? Can you let yourself feel that? You might feel anxious. Can you let yourself feel anxious? I know that oftentimes when I release into acceptance, there's a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of uncertainty. When I tighten, I feel that I'm being willful. I feel like that I'm exerting control, but it's an illusion because the situation in front of me is not changed at all. So we need to learn to accept the things we can't control. Accepting means this expansive mindset where you allow feelings in without expecting them to change. And paradoxically, this very accepting gives us the presence of mind to take action. Accepting is not the same as complacency. If we just accept and we don't expand our mind, the whole point of getting an expanded mind is to take wiser action, to change our behavior, to instead of reacting, we respond out of a sense of expansiveness and knowledge of our values, knowledge of the vision we have for ourselves. When we react or when we are complacent, we don't take any action. Our life doesn't get better. And in most cases, acceptance, when it's used as the word complacent, when people are being too accepting, oftentimes people aren't really letting themselves feel their feelings. It's kind of like a downtrodden look, like, yeah, I accept that, she broke up with me or he broke up with me. Yeah, I accept that I got fired. I accept my difficult feelings. It's like, are you really accepting them? Are you exploring them? It doesn't look like you're that curious to me. No judgment, but I do just want to point that out, So this is how we really start to approach this concept of acceptance, kind of these different techniques. So which technique is your favorite? Just let me know. All right, have a good day. Peace.